Hi, so I hope you enjoyed our first session here at the Radnor Memorial Library's summer series of Pilates and functional movement. And I'm Carol Beringer. I introduced myself last week, but I will introduce myself each week in case you're new to the series. And so today, because we have these feet that carry us around, so in the first week, I went over the two things that people come into the studio first say they're tight in their necks, and then that they're tight in the morning. So we did de-stressing the neck and shoulders, and then we did morning stretches, which you can also do any time of the day. They're nice to do at night before you go to bed as well. So each of the things that I show you you could do away from each other. They don't have to be done in any grouping. So this is a half-hour session where we will have 3 or 4 choices. So when we go through the day, we carry ourselves around on our feet. So I'm going to look at my notes a little bit. So we're going to do some standing footwork to wake up your feet. And again, everything we're going to do are unremarkable movements with remarkable benefits. So these little feet carry around this big body for the rest of the day. So in the morning, if you can do some of these, it's really great. So the first thing we're going to do are standing footwork. You're going to look down and make sure that your big toes are across from each other with just about your fist width between the big toe joint. Then we have a pelvic floor with a tailbone, a pubic bone, and sits bones. You're just going to pull up, if you had a handkerchief, those 4 bony landmarks. You're just going to pull gently up on the handkerchief in the middle. You're going to pull your belly away from your shirt, and an overall way to check your posture all day is to put your pinky in your belly button, your thumb on your breastbone, and just pull those 2 parts away from each other. You're going to lift your breastbone off your belly button. And then for the head, have it be over your torso. If you just wrap your hands around your head and push your head against your hands and your hands against your head, this just lines everything up and it feels great. So it's a good thing to do all day. So now that we're in good posture, we're going to do a heel strike, just as if you were taking a step. And you're going to put the foot down. Your weight is equally distributed and your hips are square. And just roll over the side of your foot 3 to 5 times. This is great for your brain also because your foot is far away from your head. And even though our mechanoreceptors, the joint receptors, travel at 300 to 600 miles an hour, it's far. So if you stub your toe, it's like, oh, that's going to hurt, and then it hurts. You know that. But if you bite your tongue, bam, because it's right there. All right, now you're going to take the first foot out again. Take a 45-degree angle, and then just gently roll over that. And I know this looks like not much. You will feel it. And so there are over 135 working parts in your feet. And just doing this wakes them up and lets them know they're alive, even if you put them in a shoe and hold them hostage the rest of the day. So 3 to 5 of those. All right, and then you can just kind of get a feel for it. So move, because if we're not assessing, we're guessing. So we want to feel what we're doing. All right, the next one it's a balance exercise as well. You're going to take the first foot back and tuck the toes under. You can see that my legs, the thighs are fairly lined up. And then you're just going to bend the standing leg. So whatever leg we have weight on, we call the standing leg. And then I'm going to turn so you can see what happens next. From that position, you're going to let the ankle fall out and just go roll over the 2 little toes. Last, you're going to take your big toe out at an angle so that you can drape the ankle inward. And believe it or not, some of you are getting a cramp when you're doing this because we're not used to taking our feet in that position and then kind of roll that out. Let's go to the other foot. So you're going to just take it directly back and then bend the standing knee. So this is great for balance. You do want to have something soft under your feet if you're doing this, and you might have to hold on to something. This really is a tricky balance exercise. I wobbled on the first one. I don't know if you caught that. And then you take it out at an angle over the big toe. The ankle falls in. Okay, so I'm going to show you from behind again. We did the foot tucked under, the ankle out to the side, and then at an angle, the toe out and the heel draped in. And once you learn these, so we're doing it at a slower pace, which is called a rehabilitation pace, because even though we go 300 to 600 miles an hour down there, we want the information to be embedded in our brain. So we are doing what's called neuroplasticity. We are making ourselves pliable and having it imprint in our brains. So the next thing we're going to talk about is neutral spine, and we're going to learn it also lying down, which is supine. So when you're on your back, it's called supine. So the curves in your spine should be, your head floats on the top on this tiny little neck, and there's a curve behind the neck. There's one that goes through the ribs, one in the low back, and your tailbone naturally crawls under. So I will use a lot of cues about sending your tailbone down and lifting your breastbone up. It's the same as pinky in the belly button, thumb on the breastbone. And then the combination of all of them is the pelvic floor with the handkerchief, the belly away from the shirt, and the hands behind your head. So I'm going to give you many options and choices, and whichever one stays with you, that's the one you use. So next we're going to do supine, lying down, neutral spine. So come onto your well-carpeted floor or a good mat, and okay, let's practice rolling down. I like this one where you extend one leg, that gives you something to work against, and then hand behind the thigh, and then just roll your spine down one bone at a time. And I'm just going to move down because I'm staying centered in the camera. So once you're down, even if you did have to wiggle around about like that, you can also just lift your bottom a little bit and lengthen your spine down the other way. So you want to feel that between the first cervical vertebra, which is called the atlas, up here by your skull, and your tailbone, that they're as far apart from each other as possible to create space. Have you ever heard the saying, you're only as young as your spine? So the more flexible your spine, the more comfortable you actually feel in your body. So the first thing we're going to do is practice tuck and flex. So we're going to tuck the tailbone up towards the back of the knees, and that's going to press the low curve out of your back. And then you're going to send the tailbone down and accentuate the curve. And anytime you're tight and you have the opportunity to lie down, this is the first place you want to go. So with your hands on your belly, your fingertips would go down. If your thumbs are your belly button, butt of the palms on the hip crest, and then just roll back and forth and breathe with it. In the first session, I did tell everybody that your abdominals are meant to squeeze the air out of your lungs. So just by standing with good posture and breathing with intention, inhaling and exhaling, that you will strengthen your abdominals. So this is supine neutral, would be that you have the curve, your ribs are spaced here, and your low back, you could just fit your fingers under there, and your tailbone naturally curls under. So as long as you have those other curves, your tailbone's in the right place. So we're going to do just a little bit of a shoulder bridge so that you can strengthen front and back of the body. So put your hands on your thighs, press the curve out of your back, and then making sure you have weight equally distributed on your feet. You can feel your whole foot. Just curl your tailbone up. Reach your knees forward, so you don't want to dump back into your shoulders. You want to reach forward to unload your shoulders, and now your weight is equally distributed on your shoulder blades and your feet. And then you can kind of release and just dip your hips down and press them up. Dip your hips down and press them up. And 3 to 5 of these. And then the last one up, see if you can pull your spine down one bone at a time. I'm going to take my arms to the ceiling so you can see it happen. I'm going to sink my breastbone, sink my ribs, sink my waist. So I'm going to really go press that curve out and then send the tailbone down, and the curve will return. The next thing we're going to do, and all of these things are wonderful for those of us who walk a lot for exercise, and I think a lot of people have been walking a lot the last 3 months. So we're going to do, the hips get tight when we are loading our torsos into our pelvis all day, and so these are called butterfly slides, and they're very simple. I'm going to place my hands on my low belly because we do want to keep this fairly neutral. We're going to start with knees and feet together. We're going to allow the knees to fall out and the soles of the feet will be touching. And your legs may not open as wide as mine. Slide the legs long as you can go, like your toes are going to touch the far wall. You'll feel this head to toe. Turn the knees to the ceiling and slide the heels in. Open the knees, slide the legs out. As far as they'll go, you'll feel your belly hollow out. Turn the knees. So there's a lot going on. Even though we're moving the legs, if we are moving functionally, which means we're moving all the muscles, tendons, ligaments, and fascia in the order to move the skeleton, everybody gets to come to the party instead of just overusing and abusing the same muscles. And so again, we're going at a nice rehabilitation speed so that our brain can absorb the information. And if you do these regularly, you can pick up the pace. Regularly means pretty much every day, or at least 5 times a week. And just 5 to 8 of these. And again, these will only take you about 3 minutes once you memorize them. Then reverse that, press out with the legs together. Turn the knees open, my heels are still touching, and then pull the heels towards your tailbone and pick the knees up. Inhale to get big. Open, exhale, helps you brace. So breathing's also pretty important. We hold our breath a lot or breathe very shallow. And taking a breath can be like a mini meditation. Let's take one more. And once you really do these all the time, 3 is plenty. You might have to reorganize your spine as we change from doing 2 legs to 1. We're going to take one knee out, slide the leg long, pull it in. And we'll just stay on this side. Once you get fancy with them, you could alternate. So we'll take 5 here. And then 5 to the other side. Knee goes out, leg goes long, knee goes to the ceiling, pull it in. Inhale to open and push, turn, exhale. Inhale through the nose, exhale through a soft jaw. The strongest muscles in your body are your chewing muscles, and they're right next to your brain, so that's why so many people have grinding or clenching of the teeth. The tension goes right there. Now we're going to reverse it, lengthen the leg out, turn the knee, pull it in, close the door. Slide the leg out, turn the knee. And again, you're getting as long as you can, turning, pulling in. Last side, slide it out, turn the knee open. You always want to start with both legs working together and finishing together just to reset. Just kind of seals the deal. 2 to go. Inhale to get long. Last one. Now we'll just do 1 in each direction here to recover. Push out with both, pull in, push out. And then a nice thing to start checking to see how much you improve is that when you first start doing these, you'll go into whatever your habit was, like to arch your back a lot or tuck, and then you'll find that you'll be able to stay very stable as you do these. So now we're going to come up and finish today's session with standing footwork. So also to go up the way we came down, this is a good practice to engage the abdominals. Hands overlapped behind the thigh. Come up and look at the extended leg, which we call the standing leg, and that's the working leg, whichever leg is stationary. If you were standing up, you would be holding this leg in the air. And then you're just going to curl at the breastbone. So this is the connection we put behind the head to help it. And then just pull your abs back and roll on up. And that'll get better over time too. So this standing footwork, you will want to be on a hard surface. So you wouldn't want to be on a mushy mat, fine on carpet, but you won't want to be on something that has a lot of give because this is a very tough balance exercise. And again, totally legitimate to hold onto a chair, whatever's handy, or something in front of you. But and these are great for tired feet as well. So we're going to just look down, do a foot check, big toes across from each other. The fist can fit between the big toe joint. Pull the breastbone up off the belly button, or think tailbone down, breastbone up, whatever feels that you have gotten yourself lifted up over your pelvic floor. And you're going to keep this lift as you bend your knees. And I'll advise you to, even though you're listening to me and kind of seeing me, you don't want to be looking at anything moving. And I put my arms close to my side to just help feel collected. And you want to find a stationary focal point to stare at. So because now we're going to go up on the toes, and this takes a lot of balance. And your feet might crack. Mine just made music. And then push down into the floor to go up. So this is great for strengthening ankles, knees. You'll feel a lot engaged. It does the midline. The midline of you is where balance comes from. Again, just 3 to 5 of these. And we're doing them at, a nice rehabilitation pace. And then you're going to bend the knees. Go up on the toes. Push the legs straight. Keep the breastbone lifted as you roll down through your feet. Bend the knees. Go up on the toes. Press yourself straight. Roll down through the feet. We're just going to do one more in this direction. So we don't need a lot of these. And then up on your toes, you just have to do them really well. And back up. And then up on the toes. And bend the knees. Roll down through the feet. Press to straighten. Last one. Woo! I almost lost it. Takes a lot of concentration. So we are using, this is very mindful movement. So that's our session for today. And for the week, you'll be able to play this all you like. Week 2, and then week 3, I hope to see you again. And again, you'll see it across the bottom of the screen when we start and finish my email information. And I'd love to hear from you. And have a great week.